Hey, this is Ryan Phillips here, and this is my game tonight against Scott Raymond. I had the black pieces in this game. I will say ahead of time, this was probably one of my worst games of chess I've played. Um, maybe ever. I don't know. It was pretty terrible, but still in pretty good spirits. Um, I know in my last videos I've been saying I would like to kind of expand and experiment with some new openings. So um, I am kind of prepared for my results to maybe not be as good as they might normally be if I was just playing the openings that I know well. But I think in the long run, which is what I'm trying to think about, this will kind of help me out. So I played the Pirc defense with d6, and I believe this is the first time I've ever played this opening. I hadn't really prepared anything specifically, but I just got a demo board from winning the National Open, and if anyone doesn't have a demo board, I mean, they could be a little pricey, like 20, $30. So if you don't want to spend the money, that's perfectly understandable. But if you're looking for a way to spend 20, $30 as far as chess supplies go, I would strongly advocate getting a demo board. I think it's really cool. I don't know. I just really like it. I feel very like professorial when I use it. I could like stand up and walk around and like ruminate on about things and while I'm moving the pieces. And I feel like it gives you like a cool perspective. I know the GM games when they get the demo boards, I noticed that they frequently look at the demo board to get another perspective of their game, and I feel like it really does help to get that other perspective. And I don't know. I've only had it for like a week and a half or so. I don't know. Whenever the National Open, maybe like 2 weeks now. But so far, I've been really happy with it. So anyway, I was looking at the Pirc with my demo board, and I was kind of looking at it from both sides, and I figured, why not give it a shot? I didn't want to play Sicilian just because I always play Sicilian, and I really couldn't think of anything else to play. I was thinking about playing the Elephant Gambit, but I don't know. I didn't. I wanted to play something like even more, offbeat for me than that. I considered playing the French defense, which maybe in retrospect that would have been a decent opening choice. But I can't really. I think that Pirc is fine. So d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6. So far, this is all basic theory. Here Scott played a very inaccurate move. I thought he played bishop c4, which I didn't care for at all. Basically, I don't think the bishop is very well placed on c4, as I don't think it'll get much play against the f7 pawn. And then I think this bishop, I don't know. I just don't think it's very well placed in this position here. I could play like c5 or e5, especially if the center gets closed, like with e5 and d5, which end up having the game after the bishop on c4 was pretty clumsy right here. So anyway, I played bishop g7, and Scott played f3. So then before I go here, I was considering knight takes e4. But I didn't like the looks of bishop takes f7. Not that I thought it was bad or anything. I just thought that this would be a slight advantage for white. And I felt like this was a little impatient to play this way, to be honest. So I rejected this line just to kind of. I thought that was too soon to play that move, even though it would be a good way to kind of make bishop c4 look silly right away. But I played bishop g7, which is fine, and then Scott played f3. And now it kind of looked like a same-ish, like King's Indian almost, but without a pawn on c4. And I think the pawn on c4 is probably a lot better than the bishop on c4. I just don't think this bishop is going to do anything too actively here, even though it may look slightly active at the moment. I think it's pretty easy to lock this bishop out of the game. So castle, Scott plays bishop e3. So I don't play fianchetto lines that often, but I do play the Grunfeld, so I'm fairly familiar. It felt like kind of a King's Indian defense with the bishop being on c4 rather than pawn being on c4, and I know that I'm thinking Scott's idea is to play queen d2 and just trade off my dark square bishop, which I think is kind of a sophomore plan, to be honest. I don't think it's anything to be too worried about. Especially the way that my pieces are configured. I haven't really made any commitments yet in the center, so spending tempo to trade off the bishop maybe is premature, I thought. So I played knight c6, which computer shows a slight inaccuracy, but I thought it was a reasonable move. And Scott played a3, which he played this in the last time he played a long game, which is Sicilian, and I don't know if he has like an affinity for this a3, bishop a2 maneuver, but I thought a3 was pretty, I don't know, I didn't really understand the idea. So I played kind of a King's Indian move, so with e5. which maybe was a little early. Computer showing knight a5 is a good option, with the idea of trying to play d5, which is an interesting possibility, which I did kind of consider briefly during the game. Or a6, which I did not consider. Not at this point. I considered a6 at some other point in the game. And then e6 was also considered, so trying to get for d5. But this didn't feel very principled to me for this opening. So maybe I'm, I don't know. Maybe my mindset is already like too rigid when it comes to chess, where I'm playing too thematically versus actually analyzing the position, which is really the whole point of this experiment of playing different openings, is that I don't get too rigid in my thinking and kind of play with more creativity and have more like patterns in my head that will help me out. So e5 maybe a little early, then he played d5. And then here, knight e7 was obviously a move I considered, which is like, this is a standard King's Indian defense idea, knight e8 and then f5. But I wanted to play something a little more challenging here, so I went knight d4, which I think is playable here. The idea being mainly if he takes immediately, I have this nice move, knight takes e4. And I saw this during the game. The idea is if queen takes e4, then rook e8, pinning the queen to the king, wins the queen. So I just give up a knight and a rook for the queen and a pawn, and the white king is still stuck in the center for a little while. So this is obviously very good for black. And then if he plays bishop takes here, or knight b5, I have some ideas. I guess knight takes d5 is very interesting. Just to play c6 after the bishop takes, or c5 looks interesting as well. Just opening up the center as quickly as possible. So this is all. I didn't look at this specifically, but I felt after knight b5 that I was fine. I was actually more concerned about knight c to e2 here. In which case I was considering c5 again, but I wasn't sure how this would work. Or rook e8 looks interesting. So take, and then take here. So this has been an interesting line. So I didn't see all this exactly, but I felt that my piece activity would be fantastic if he went for this line. So I wasn't too concerned about any of this. I didn't really, like I said, I didn't analyze any specific lines. It just felt very good to me. So my intuition, I think, in this position was fine up to this point. And man, I really thought I just thought I was gonna handle these complications a lot better than Scott, which I think I was on the verge of doing before I blundered pretty horrifically. So he played knight g to e2, and then I found a nice idea with knight h5. And I think here the idea is knight takes d4, e takes, bishop takes. And I was actually playing queen g5, which the computer didn't like. So I guess queen h4 first, and then queen g5, which is very interesting to me. So it's interesting. So I was pretty prepared to sacrifice a pawn for piece play in this line. The computer seems to think my choice is somewhat valid. I'm curious why queen g5 immediately wasn't good, which is what I was intending to play. I don't remember what I was planning on playing here. So, so I don't know. Maybe this was a foolhardy decision. Like maybe I should just keep this simple and just play knight takes e2 here, and then battle from here, which I think I should be fine after knight takes e2. So I thought to myself, maybe I should keep this simple. But I decided to keep playing creatively, so I played knight h5. And then here Scott played queen d2, so he was pretty loyal to his idea of getting the bishop and the queen on the same diagonal. And then here I think I'm just playing I don't know, I think I'm playing for like a brilliancy prize more than just playing chess, but I don't think this was a bad move either, bishop h3. So the idea is obvious if g takes h3, then just knight takes f3, forking the king and the queen. So that was the generic idea. And then if rook g1, I was gonna just take, and then if he takes here, which is pretty much seemed like the only logical idea to me, then I'm pretty content I'm pretty content with this position, even though his rook on g1. I don't know. It's not. Yeah, it's really not that active. Yeah, I guess it's lined up on my king, but it's really hard to even remove this g pawn. So I would have been pretty happy with this position, I think. So I don't know. The computer's not really saying this is pretty even, but this is kind of the variation I had in mind, which I thought was better than the computer showing. So Scott castled, which is the best move. And then here I played very poorly. I think that's an understatement of the whole video. Probably one of the worst moves I've ever played. And it's funny, I played the King's Indian defense against John Trivet, I believe, when I was about 16 or 17 years old at Mr. Good Sense. I was probably a little bit older than that. I was probably like my freshman year of college. No, so I would have been like, I started my freshman year of college when I was 17. And I believe this was like one of the first weeks I played at Mr. Good Sense. I fell into the same exact trap against him with Queen F6. And yeah, I can't. I think Greg Nemi was next to me, and he looked at the board after this, and he looked pretty shocked. So apparently, I just missed this Bishop G5 move, which is discouraging to say the least. So I feel like I had a good game out of the opening. This is still the opening, so I guess I can't fully say that. But the beginning parts of the opening, I thought I played well. Queen F6 though is a very bad blunder, of course. I think after just knight takes e2. Knight takes e2, bishop d7. I think I have a very playable game. White still has a small pull, but I think I'm striving for like f5 and f4 pretty soon, and I think my position is okay. Or even just bishop d7 here might be okay, but I think that just drops a pawn in the center. I don't really have quite the piece play with the king castled now, so I think I have to take on e2 first and retreat the bishop. So queen f6, these things happen. I wish they didn't. I wish I was perfect and never blundered, but unfortunately I did, and I'm not trying to excuse it, but I don't know what else I could say at this point. I already made the mistake, and I don't know. I try not to beat myself up over these things anymore. I think that's one of the nice things about gaining some perspective and maturity on life. Not to philosophize too much, but just to kind of say, I think this is good advice for anyone who blunders. Hopefully you don't make a blunder this stupid. But I did. So if you make it, you just got to move on to the next game, which I'll easily do, I think. So here I kind of, I got nothing. I could play bishop h6, which I saw, but then bishop takes h6 here, and now my bishop and my rook are hanging, and I really don't have anything. So I should have first of all clarified the idea behind bishop queen f6 was I was hoping you'd play here, and I wasn't even sure if this was good for me. But I kind of so the computer's showing me slightly good. I kind of assessed this as being roughly equal. I know giving up 2 pieces for the rook and a pawn, materially 6 versus 6 is even, but in practice the 2 pieces are worse. But in this position I thought with the open king that I'd have adequate compensation. So at least I was thinking of something, even though it maybe looks like a really stupid blunder, queen f6, which it was. At least I had like a kind of a rationale for it. So, and I thought like if the king moves, for example, then something like this is all very good for me. So I looked at all this. So I just missed a very simple bishop g5, unfortunately. But that happens. So yeah, so after this and takes and queen takes, I wasn't quite sure who was winning. But I thought I would give this position a shot because it looked interesting to me. There's a lot of material imbalances. The white king's open. My king is extremely safe at the moment. So I figured, what the heck, let's go for it. So, again, I missed bishop g5, and here from here, this is a comedy of errors, so the game's already lost, but bishop takes g2. And I'm just going to go over it quickly. I think I only have like a minute left of the video. No, I'll take my time, I'll give you guys your money's worth. But anyway, so I took here, and then he took the queen. And for some reason, my calculating was terrible. I guess, I was obviously a little, pissed off, but I rejected bishop takes f1, which at least gives me a piece more than the variation I played, because I forgot that I could just take, now I'm taking here, or even they're saying knight takes here first, but so obviously still a losing position, but at least I'm only down a rook for a queen, and I have 2 pawns, so or do I have 2 pawns? I had 2 pawns in the variation I played, but this variation only have 1. So yeah, so I'm not sure why why I calculated so poorly. So for some reason I played knight takes f3 check, which just loses another piece. So um, after he takes and then I take back, now he just trades off the pieces. So instead of having being down a queen for a rook, I'm now down a bishop and a queen for a rook, and I just got one more pawn. Um, so yeah, big. So I basically it's a 7 point advantage according to Ripka versus a 4. 4 is bad enough, and of course losing, but at least I guess I just play chess very practically now. If I have to, even though I dropped the queen, I have to give myself kind of the best chance to even, have ideas of maybe coming back to draw, which, against, I don't want to, underestimate my opponent or diminish his skills at all. But we're not GMs. We make mistakes, and I think if I would have played the variation as well as I could after getting my queen trapped, I think I could have tried. I could have attempted to fight back. But here, this is all kind of nonsense from here on out. So here he played rook f1. I played bishop g4, queen g5, bishop h3, rook f2, f6, queen e3, bishop d7, knight b5. And here I played a6 very quickly, but of course I'm pretty demoralized, and I guess demoralized is the wrong word. I know the game's over and I lost, but I figured maybe we see if we can if I could do something. But I could have resigned. I could have resigned right after bishop g5 to be perfectly honest, but I felt like what the hell, let's play on a little bit. So rook a c8, and then queen b6 is kind of the saving move. Otherwise he would have to give back a piece, which I'm still losing after that. But again, I'm trying to be very practical, because the only reason why I'm kind of saying this is a long game, but the game in 10, which is a lot different, of course. I actually lost a queen for a bishop in the opening versus a 2100 player, and I was able to fight back because my pieces were more active. And I would say this position is a lot worse than that one, because here my pieces aren't better than my opponent's pieces even. But in that game, I dropped a queen I got a queen trapped in the opening as well, which happens in the game in 10. But I wasn't too happy about that, of course, either. But at least there I kept fighting back, and something happened good for me, and another thing happened good for me, and another thing happened good for me, and I was able to somehow miraculously come back and win. So I was thinking maybe the same thing could happen here. Scott's never beaten me before. My results have been really good against him, so I thought maybe he'd be nervous, and maybe he'd screw up. But things didn't really work out that way for me, and he actually handled the end game very well, I thought. So I played rook f7. He played b3, and I think he kind of slammed the clock, like he was very proud of himself. So he played a good move, I guess. Bishop g4, knight e6 check, king h8, queen takes d6, and I played b5 very quickly. So here I kind of stopped really even taking the time to analyze anything deeply. I just played quick, and Scott did it again. I thought Scott played very well at this to mop up with the queen, which of course all the tactics will favor him, of course, but to even he was still trying to find the best moves, and I think he did for the most part. So he could have easily played bishop d3 here, but he played queen takes a6, which is a very good move. So he didn't really give me any hope to come back. So I played rook b8. And then, if you're probably thinking I should resign here, you're probably right. I guess this was a little unprofessional, but I was hoping for something to happen good for me, but I guess that was, I'm not sure the word I'm looking for, just, I don't know, maybe that was youthful optimism still, so at least I could say that about myself. something good. Anyway, so queen takes d6, b5, queen takes bishop takes b5, rook f b7, a4, rook b6, queen a5, and then I don't know what I was thinking, just play f5. I don't know, try to get something aggressive going. He played his bishop c4 move, which And then I played a very stupid move here, so yeah, all these moves are really bad. F takes e4, which is just terrible. And he played queen takes b6, and thought this was well past due time for design. So anyway, so of course this was not one of my better games, and I think a normal person would probably be embarrassed to have to make a video about this, but I don't feel too bad, to be honest. Of course I don't like to lose, but I guess you gotta try to be positive and take something out of it. So for one, I played an opening that I'd never played before, and I thought I got a reasonably good position out of it. I got my queen trapped for the second time in this fashion. Like I said, the last time was when I was like 17 or so against John Trivet. And I swore that I'd never let this happen again, which I did a good job for 10 years. But after 10 years, I guess my anger over missing this tactic subsided. So hopefully I will not make this error for at least another 10 more years. I was really not focused on this bishop coming to g5 at all, I must be honest. Which is weird because that's his plan, is to move this bishop on this diagonal. If he wanted to take the knight on d4, he could have done that. But I was just very concerned about this d4 knight, and I overlooked this over here. And yeah, it's funny. I mean, if I play the knight to e7, then I don't even have the option of playing queen f6. So it's funny how things happen in life and in chess. You know, if you look back, like, oh man, if I didn't make that decision, I wouldn't even have been in this position to make this dumb decision. So I think in that way, life and chess do imitate each other quite a bit. And I think knight d4 is a very interesting move. So I'm really happy I played this. I wanted to, you know, I'm really trying to improve my chess. And I think moves like knight d4 will do that, because I'm not just playing standard, oh, the book says knight e7 or king's Indian knight e7. I said, well, I think in this position knight d4 looks interesting to me. So I went with it. And I'm happy with that decision. I'm happy with knight h5, even though it maybe was simpler just playing knight takes e2. But I'm happy with that decision as well. I'm even happy with bishop h3, even though it's kind of a cheapo, because I knew after castle it wasn't that great of a move. So I guess it was a little bit of a cheapo. I didn't really care for knight takes e2, and then this knight f5 move is very interesting. I'm not sure why this is really my computer's recommending this move. I'm not understanding. So take a look at this real quick. I don't understand why I can't just take. Oh, because the bishop on c4. Yeah, so this is good to know. So I'm learning something from this game. Well, knight f5 would have been a cool move. I think that would have thrown him. So I wish I had played that. I didn't even consider it. So that's a good like lateral. You know, there's a lateral pin on the e pawn because of this bishop on c4. So that's interesting. Because I don't see that very often. I don't think that comes up in my game so often, or if it does, I probably miss it. So that's something I could add to the arsenal. And I think it just proves this bishop on c4, I think, is very misplaced. It's not doing anything. It's not protected by anything. If he wants to go to a2 and b1 or something, I don't know where he's going to go. He can't even move to like b5. I'll just play like a6 and b5. And I don't know, this bishop's just a very bad piece. The only thing I can think of is maybe knight takes d4, e takes d4, and just moving the bishop back to e2 at some point. Or even f1 to be a defensive piece on g2, which is kind of common in a king's Indian defense. But bishop c4 is just really bad, I think. So yeah, bishop h3. Yeah, it's probably just too much of a cheapo. I'm a little disappointed that my position is not better. I think I played the opening, up to this point in my opinion, I think I played the opening a little bit better. So I guess what I will say is maybe the Pirc isn't such a great, I don't know, maybe the Pirc isn't a opening I should play again. But I'm pretty stubborn. I'll probably play it a few more times. And I just want to play anything as against e4. I want to really expand, and even d4. I was even thinking about playing the Alekai in this game. I don't know, just it gets kind of boring playing the Sicilian over and over, to be perfectly honest. And I feel like my results with the Sicilian have been pretty good, and I think I play it a lot better over the years. I think I keep getting better and better with it. But you know, I don't really want to master just like one variation. I really want to learn different patterns, and I really, you know, I could be like a 2,000 strength player or so, or well, this game I would be like 1,400, but I think I could be like a 2,000 strength player for the next 10 years, probably relatively easy. But if I want to play better and have more fun playing chess and become a better player, then I think it's good. I wish I had done this 10 years ago, so I'm just doing it now. I don't want to. If I am playing chess 10 years from now, which who knows what I'll be doing, but if I'm playing chess 10 years from now, don't want to start then and be like, oh, I wish when I was 28 I had, tried these different variations. So get out of my system now. I think the fact that we have a club that I get to play once a week, and we have another club on Thursday, so I can play twice a week if I have so desire. I think it's good. I'm not really risking too much. If I lose some rating points, I won't be happy, but I think in the long run it's going to suit me well. So I'm definitely looking forward. Juan is in good contact with the Mind Games people, or Mind Sports International, and I guess I'll be doing some commentary for the match or for the tournament. And Juan said it wouldn't interfere with me playing the tournament, so I'll be playing in the tournament, and then after, or I assume, I'll be commenting on the games. I don't know exactly how it'll work, but I'm very excited about that. I think maybe at first I was wondering if it maybe would be too much to commentate and play, but I think it just seems like too good of an opportunity to pass up. I think it's gonna be like on their TV, on their internet channel, so I don't know how many views it'll get. Hopefully it'll get a little bit more than my YouTube videos, but I think it'll just be a lot of fun, and I don't think it should be too tiring, and I don't think it'll interfere with my playing the tournament. As long as I'm able to commentate after I'm done with my games, which Juan assured me I'd be able to, I don't see why it would be any problem at all. I think if anything, it might be refreshing, just to be able to kind of kick back after the games and have some fun. I don't. I'll take the commentating and the analysis serious, of course, but I think it'll be more enjoyable than anything else, and hopefully I get like the players to come comment on their own games or something like that, which Juan also said he'd recommend that I did, that I would, I could bring whoever I want to come talk about their game. So hopefully it'll be more of a fun thing more than me like doing like painstaking analysis after I play a tiring game, for example. And I think it'd be cool to go over my own games. I think it's always therapeutic, so hopefully I'll play some good games. I don't know, it might be strange if I lose a really tough game and then have to commentate right after that, but I think I'm getting pretty good as I get older, keeping a calm demeanor. Anyway, thank you for watching. Apologize I couldn't produce a better game this week. Right before I played Queen F6, I was starting to think that, man, I'm going to play a brilliancy this game. And whenever I think something like that, usually something really bad happens. So this is kind of a case in point. Anyway, this is Ryan Phillips signing off. Thank you for watching. And next week, I promise, I'll be put forth a better effort and a better game this one. All right, thank you.